Hey, welcome back to This is Gravel. I'm Bobby Thompson. This is Leland Danes. We just got back from a long weekend down at the Land Run, Stillwater, Oklahoma. We're going to talk a lot about that. Before we get into that though, I do want to give a shout out to someone who watched our show last week. They sent us in a picture of, apparently they followed my suggestion of a little chamois butter, a little watching the episode. I want to give full disclosure, I've never actually watched the show in just chamois butter. But since that came up, little suggestion. What I do is I close my eyes, I relax, picture myself frolicking on the beach, running along. You see a tiki hut. You see Leland sitting at the tiki hut. Table, enjoying a mojito, nothing but red Speedo on. He does have his toe ring that is still on because he can't quite get it off all the toe fungus that's around there. But
that's... We don't need to know anything about your fantasy.
I'm sorry. Matt, you're laughing. I see you laughing, buddy, back there. You too, don't you? You've done this before, haven't you? Cheeky little guy. Okay, on to the Land Run. Leland, tell us a little bit about your weekend.
Well, the Land Run is a very special event, and this year was the 4th year. I've participated in every single one. As I said before, going into it, this one was a little bit different for me. I was not chasing top 10s or high placings. I was riding with my wife, and it was a new adventure for me to kind of change gears and help guide her through that and try to help her to the finish. Unfortunately, we were having a bit of a bad day. The mud, some days you can get through it, some days you can't. She was having some rear derailleur troubles, even got a real bad nosebleed. You'll have to see that picture on Facebook if you haven't already. I had to use my jersey to help stop the bleeding. She's a bleeder. But we limped into Perry, and we were all set to continue on, but we didn't bring lights, and we had arrived a little later than anticipated. It would not have been smart to carry on without some lights, so we did call it a day at Perry, but very proud of her. We had a great time. We loved every second of it.
Good. Yeah, my wife came down with me, and we had a blast. A lot of fun down there. We'll get back into a little bit more of our own details here coming up. We want to jump right into, we have a little video montage. Our own Matt Fowler was down there, busting his butt, gravel guru, down there busting his butt, taking interviews, taking video footage, and we're going to roll into that. That's awesome. Thanks, Matt, for that. So a little bit more about our own experiences down there. Leland, you showed up. I think you were down there Thursday. Took down a little bit of equipment to help out down there. I came down myself Friday afternoon. the scene upon rolling into Stillwater was just amazing. I mean, as soon as you were maybe 3 blocks away, you couldn't see much of anything. Within two blocks away, you just saw bikes everywhere. You saw people everywhere. It was like ants, just crawling all over the place. You had district bikes, you had Iron Monk, you had Aspen Coffee across the street. People just roaming everywhere.
Yes.
Oh, come on, help me out.
Without a doubt, when you come into Stillwater, I think one of the first things you notice when you get down there is District Bicycles. I mean, it's a beautiful shop. If you have not seen it, you need to get down to Stillwater. It's worth the trip alone. And we've gone on, and those that know Bobby Wintle and Crystal Wintle, the owners of District Bicycles, they get it. But you walk in there, and it's a welcoming, inviting location. Everyone there, Bobby, Crystal, their employees, they love having you there. I think they really love showcasing their shop, their roads, their town. So that's what creates these atmospheres. There's all kinds of gravel rides and races and events, but I think you look at the ones that stand apart, that's what it is. It's all those little extra things. It's not just about the ride itself. It's everything else that goes into it.
One thing about the land run, where we're located, is most of us, when winter comes, we go back to our own little cliques, our own little towns, and we wait out the winter. The land run is kind of that grand opening, where we all get back together again. Hey, I haven't seen you for forever. Facebook, yeah, but I haven't seen you forever. Talked about you forever. How was your winter? That kind of a thing. And that's what you see when you show up. You park your car. You get out immediately. You're just, hey Bobby, hey Dave, whoever. And I think that's one of the beautiful aspects of having land run at this time of year. Also, so yes, there was the riders meeting that night. There was 2 riders meetings. Afterwards, just talk about my own experiences. We had a house that we rented that weekend. So we were able to go back to the house, throw a little Emporia barbecue, thanks to Dirty Kanza Promotions for that. And it was a good experience. So it was a good way to relax and lead into this Saturday morning mud fest, for lack of a better word. So as far as the day itself, the ride itself, you're going to hear riders' accounts all over Facebook, blog posts. Casual Cyclist has one. But it is what it is. I mean, after about, 15 miles, 10 miles, I'd say 15 miles to 30 miles, that range there was on and again, off again, mud, walking, carrying the bikes. Own experience was, the first half was tough. So you rolled into Perry and you were physically tired, not just your normal leg tired. I mean, chest hurt from breathing so heavily for the whole time, Your ribs hurt, your shoulders hurt from carrying a bike. We're not used to carrying bikes. You had a fat bike with you.
Yeah. My shoulders still hurt a little bit. Fortunately, I was able to push my bike a lot more than carry it, thankfully. I think as bad as the conditions were, we didn't see as much carnage as last year. So there certainly weren't as many riders on the side with broken derailleurs, which is always a good thing. But it was tough, and that's why, just to get to Perry, there was no shame in that. I mean, my wife and I were very proud just to have slogged it out that far, given everything that we endured and went through to get to that point. We know we had done the hardest part, and again, had we had lights, we would have carried on. But anyone that just took to the start and made an attempt, that's hats off to you in my book.
Yeah, and that is the point. We all knew it was coming. It's not like it was a surprise, and we all still showed up, and we all still gave it our best effort. And that's not to say we didn't have fun in the first half. I mean, I met probably a couple handfuls of new people that I'd never spoken to before. And let's face it, when you're walking with your bike on your shoulder at 3-4 miles per hour, you have a lot of time to chat. It may not be, hey, how you doing, buddy? But, it is, remember last year? Yeah, I remember last year. That kind of a chat, So you still get to meet nice people out there. After Perry, it was a very, I always call, checkpoints are very well organized chaos. And that's pretty much what Perry was. You had people trying to wash off their bikes. You had support crews trying to help out. You had people making the decision, time-wise, do they have time to wash everything on the bike? I personally forgot to re-lube the drivetrain on my bike, and that was a major disappointment for the next 30 miles. So
You should have watched our bike cleaning video that we'll be showing here.
Speaking of that,
shortly.
we'll get into the bike cleaning video here shortly after we do some interviews. So.
Yeah, you were talking about best efforts, so I mean, it only makes sense that we talk about Austin Morris, who won his second land run overall. Austin also won the very first land run at the age of 15 years old. No shame in getting beat by that guy. Yeah. And so now at the age of 18 has come back and won his second land run. Very impressive. This kid without a doubt has a bright future in cycling. I always love watching his results over the last 4 years. Land run was the first time I met Austin, and we rode that first land run together for 3/4 of it until I lost him there towards the end. So why don't we hear from Austin and hear how his land run experience was?
At 15 years old, I rode a full suspension mountain bike, and the field was nothing like this, and that win felt amazing, but today is just all the better, all the better. The struggle was, we trained for long bike rides, and there was a ton of running and walking out there, so the struggle was to be able to, maybe switch your muscle usage to your walking muscles, and it was tough. It put different muscles in pain that would normally be in pain on a gravel ride. So that was really tough, really struggleful, and walking with all the mud on your shoes is just, it's hard. This is a Felt F1X, their top of the line cyclocross bike, and we've got Stan's Avion wheels, carbon wheels, discs, and of course the Panaracer Gravel King 32. And that 32 gave us the clearance we needed to ride a lot of that mud, like I said, that a lot of people weren't riding, and it was a perfect setup. I mean, the perfect setup for today. Geez, I really want to thank Bobby Wintle for putting on this event. I want to thank, of course, Bob for the great teamwork and everything out there today, and Evan Fass, our other teammate who finished with us. And I'd like to thank my dad for getting me out here when I was 8 years old, getting me on the gravel. I mean, I could never thank anyone as much as I could thank.
Thanks, Austin. Okay, we're going to go right to our next interview. We're going to interview a short clip here from Katherine from Kansas City.
The beginning was pretty rough with all the walking. It was really muddy. I made sure I kept my derailleur clean. I think that was key. I didn't rip off my derailleur, and a lot of people did. But after about halfway, it was more riding and a lot better from there. It was really awesome to be able to work with all the other people, different ages, men and women. Seeing everybody out here was really awesome.
Thanks, Katherine, the overall women's champion. Next up, we have Tim and Christie Moan, the defending champions from Gravel Worlds 2015.
It was brutal, muddy.
Yeah.
That thing's hard to carry, but we
did it. It was awesome.
3/4 of the way through the mud section, we finally figured out how to
make it work.
We got a system going, and it worked well. We blew a tire right off the rim. The back tire, around mile 10, maybe somewhere in there.
Because we were going so fast.
It just blew right off the rim, so I had to tube it and then just keep going. And that just mud and more mud. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great to not have to.
It's great to go have fun.
This year at Land Run, they had riders from over 21 states. One of those states being represented was Idaho, and we had Salsa's own Jay Peterberry, who had an interesting day himself. So let's hear from Jay in his own words.
Every ride like this is a challenge in its own right, and I'm certainly out here to race and things, and I was having a good day, actually. I didn't really know what to expect. So I'm kind of coming off a big ride, but I kind of like the mud and the conditions, so as soon as it got really muddy, I was like, all right, and game on. And I was riding all the mud really well, and everyone else was hiking, and I was like, wow, what's going on here? No one's riding this stuff. And then you go through this section called the stairs, and then I seen Bobby out there, and he's like, dude, there's only like a mile left of this really bad mud. And I was like, cool, and I was like milking it through, and everyone else was walking, and I was literally like maybe like 10 yards to the corner where it turned gravel again, and it ate my derailleur. And so I kind of messed around with that, trying to make that work, and and it actually stuck, which is a miracle. And I just kind of rode the last 75 miles single speed, and I felt really good today, and I really embraced the ride, and I was happy to be out there, and you know, and to finish fourth is kind of amazing with what I ended up with. But and I rode by myself pretty much at that point moving forward, so no really working with anybody or anything, but I don't know, I just kind of enjoyed my ride while I was out there. I never once thought about stopping or anything. I was just like, this is going to be a different day. Let's just see what happens. And it turned out to be a great day, actually. I'm super excited.
So an impressive day, 25 miles in to be converted to a single speed. You know, the reality is there's a great number of people that start out on single speeds in this kind of stuff. So again, tip of the hat to those folks. Next we're going to hear from Jason Fay. He's an OSU student, just got started into cycling, has only been riding gravel for a week. And if you know Bobby Wintle, Bobby pretty much told him, you're doing land run this weekend, and he gave it an attempt. So let's hear from Jason.
You know, it's really interesting because this was my second time ever riding gravel. The first time was this past Wednesday. I'll tell you what, there's nothing like it. There's nothing comparable to riding gravel. It's definitely a new experience, and it's very, very challenging. But, you know, Bobby put on a great race, and man, we just all threw it down. It was awesome. It was great. No, I can definitely see gravel in my future. I don't know how much, we'll see. But I'm not going to think about that right now. I'm kind of done with the sound of crunching gravel. It was definitely the second half for sure. I was riding with a pace group for a while, and then I got dropped and I was riding solo, and that's when really stuff gets in your head, and it's just really hard when you're riding by yourself. So that was definitely the most challenging. It was freaking hard, but it was so totally worth it.
Thanks, Jason. Next up, our own Leland Danes here had some opportunity to clean a little of that red mud off his bike, so we got a little video clip. Show us how it's done, Leland.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm Leland Danes, and good afternoon. We're here back in Emporia, Kansas. We've returned from the Land Run 100, and as you can see, we have brought a little bit of the Land Run back home with us. So today, I'm going to be showing you the casual way to get your bike clean. All right, for starters, make it easy on yourself and get all your equipment set up. What I prefer to do is to have a bucket that I can keep all my supplies in. I've got my soapy water already filled up here, but you can see I've got my chamois washcloths, nice little sponge if needed, a harder bristle brush for doing the wheels. I'll show you that later. Of course, I've got some degreaser in a bottle. For your soap, just regular Dawn dish detergent would work perfectly. It's gentle enough on your bike, but hard enough on some of the dirt and grease. I recommend that. And of course, when we're all finished, we're gonna need to lube that chain. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is, you know, after a race this muddy, you're going to have to get your bike a little bit wet. We can't just take a dry rag and try to wipe this off. So we are going to hose it down, but it's very important that you use a nozzle that will allow you to open it up to a shower setting. You don't want direct spray. You don't want to shoot directly into your hub's bottom bracket or, of course, your front hub. So we're just going to give it a rinse with a nice shower. Work our way from the top down. And again, all I'm doing here is getting it wet. All right, next step, we're gonna get our chamois here and start scrubbing. Okay, at this stage, I like to take my wheels off. It makes it easier to clean the wheels, and I can get in around the fork and the brakes a little bit easier. If you really want to take it another step further, you can take your bottle cages out. On the cutthroat, I do have 3 bottle cages because with its design, it allows me to carry that many, but it does make it harder to get down in there. So if I really wanted to clean down and around this area, I'd want to remove those. But next we'll move on to the wheels. As I mentioned earlier, it's good to have a hard bristle brush. You can get something like this from any dollar store for $1. So really easy to come by, makes it a little bit easier to clean the rubber on your tires. Look at that. Okay, at this point we'll give it another rinse. At this point, we'll want to take care of that chain. Anytime you wash it and you get all the grease and lube off of there, you're going to want to use some degreaser and then re-lube that chain. I've got my degreaser in a bottle here. I like to just apply it to a rag and then run that rag over the chain. Much better. Once you've done that, we're ready to wipe down with a dry rag. Now that we've got everything wiped down, we need to lube that chain. We'll get the top and bottoms of the links. I like to take my fingers and rub the lube in. And we'll take that rag of ours and wipe off any excess. So the red Oklahoma dirt is certainly the gift that keeps on giving from Land Run 100. You may not have gotten every last speck off of your bike, but you're ready to go. Remember, this was just a casual cleaning. If you really want to dive into your cassette, or if you're hearing grinding in places you shouldn't be hearing grinding, you'll want to take your bike down to your local bike shop. Thanks.
Leland, thanks for that video. We'll be closing here with an interview on Bobby Wintle from the Land Run 100, but before we do, we did get a question this last week on the race itself concerning just wondering how can the leaders of the race, like something like that, keep that fast pace that they do. The reality of it is a lot of them, they're going for the win. So they're going to be pushing their bikes and they're going to be pedaling in all those places that maybe we're babying our bikes a little bit. A lot of us are trying just to finish. But then a lot of those leaders, it's all or nothing. So they're going for the win. They also, while we're walking, 2-3 miles per hour, a lot of them are picking up the bikes and sprinting, running. I mean, as far as they can get, they're pushing their bodies to the max, and they just have a little bit higher max than someone like I do. So.
Yeah, without diving into the power files, I think their numbers are a little bit larger than you and I. Yeah, these guys are riding a lot of that mud. It comes down to 2 things. They have far superior bike handling skills than a lot of us and a lot more power. So even given the conditions, when we're out there slogging along and trudging, walking our bikes, they were riding a lot more than we were. And the times that it wasn't muddy and they were back on their bikes, they were pushing a pace far faster than most of us will see anytime soon. So.
Yep, I agree. Okay, we'll lead on out with our own Bobby Wintle. Thank you.
So the Land Run has just shown me personally how deep people are able to dig and how deep people want to dig. Land Run originally in my mind was just inviting my friends to come ride 107 miles of gravel or 100 miles of gravel or whatever it is that we came up with. The Land Run to me is the culmination of all of the work that we do to show others that they are incredibly capable. And if you show people that they're capable, they believe. They believe in themselves more and deeper, and this is what happens. This event is because people believe in themselves because of the things that they've done. That is Land Run 100. That is Unlearned Pavement.
Joe Russell from Americus, Kansas.
Awesome.
Coming all the way to the finish line with a rider high on his heels. Yeah, baby!
Great job. Thank you, man. Hey. Finish his best. Sweet! Good job. Good job. Good, thanks for being here.